and it's just more than enough. It's got so much low-end torque. It's really good. I'm really impressed. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're gonna be going over a 2021 Kia Seltos in the SX Turbo trim package. Finally, I get a chance to drive a Seltos with the big bad boy turbocharged engine. But first and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to Jerry Signer Kia for providing us with this Seltos. Check out their inventory in the link below. Let's just get straight into the video. Under the hood of the Seltos, we have a turbocharged 1.6 liter four-cylinder that goes through a 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 25 around town and then 30 on the highway, with power outputs being 175 horsepower and then 195 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go to the front end of the SX Turbo Seltos. So first and foremost, you guys know that I love the hood on the Seltos just because it has these two divots on either side, and it's just a super unique look. Most manufacturers usually have like the inside part of the hood sunken in, whereas this one has it on the outside, so it just looks really cool and unique. And then we've got the LED lights, which is another really cool touch here on the Seltos. So you've got LED reflector lights for the headlights, and then the accent light's really cool. So you can see that little part right there, and then it goes all the way across through the grille. Really unique. You just almost never see that. It's just completely different from anything else. You got the fog lights down below there at the bottom, and then I love how this connects. You have the LED light there, and then you got this trim piece here that comes all along through the grille. Another cool little accent piece. But that is everything for the front end of the Seltos. Coming around the side here, we've got two 35mm tires on 18-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well, and I absolutely love the design on the wheels here with the Seltos. So it's really cool. It almost looks like these like robotic like legs, like spaceship things almost, like going into the center, and then you have the red accenting right around the center cap, which is another cool little look. Got a little all-wheel drive badge there on the side, and the mirrors are pretty cool. So they've got the blacked out trim on the bottom, and then the top is body painted to match the car. And other than that, here is your full side view on the SX Turbo. Over the rear of the Seltos, you can see you've got a cargo cover that's already built in with the Seltos from the factory, and then coming down here you guys can see all of the floor mats that come with the Seltos. It just has a whole slew, and then underneath here you can see you've got the spare tire as well, and then you can see a little speaker there for the sound system on top of that. If you guys are wondering, the car cover is pretty easy, so if you need to put something under, you can just lift it up, and yeah, nothing too complicated there. But that's the back end of the Seltos. Now with the rest of the rear of these Seltos, first off, let's go over the taillights. Again, really unique design. You can see it's just really intricate overall with the taillight itself. You got all of your normal badging here, and by the way, this is how you know it has a turbo, because it's got that little GDI badge on the back. I really like the chrome accenting here, and then down there at the bottom. And yes, we've got kind of like fake exhaust tip action happening because, well, it's actually underneath the car. But I mean, it still looks cool, so like I really don't care at this point, and that's the back. Let's take a look at the door panel here on the back of the Seltos. You have this blacked out trim right here, and it's really cool with the door handle. So this is the door handle. Then they have this continuation of the trim just to make it look really cool. Soft touch, you're gonna rest your arm, and then here are the seats in the rear. So you can see all blacked out with the seats, but you do get white contrasted stitching, and this actually feels really nice to the touch. Perforations all here throughout the center, and let's pop in. So step in height, it's not hard to get in whatsoever. I'm about 5'11", you guys can see headroom's pretty good, and then you got the leg room down there below as well. Got a couple vents here, and then a USB, and got a couple cup holders as well. And other than that, the rear here is pretty nice. Oh, that's cool. Look at that with the speaker. I didn't even notice that. That is cool. Now coming to the door panel at the front, again, we've got more of that blacked out trim with the cool little door handle action. Soft touch down here as well. All of your normal window controls, mirror adjustments, and then that speaker again. You do have the Bose sound system, but yeah, all the speakers here, they do like weird ridges on it. I like it. Coming over to the seats themselves, again, you can see you've got the soft touch, you've got the contrasted white stitching, and then you've got the perforations all here in the center. Bolsters are actually pretty nice. They're soft to the touch as well. Adjustments are on the side of the seat. That's what the pedal layout looks like. And then we can see here, you've got the auto stop start, the lane keep assist, you've got the stability control, and there's one more look before we pop in. Now here is the steering wheel with the Seltos. You can see we've got smooth black leather all the way around, and then you've got the black stitching there on the center part. And then coming over here, we've got the cruise control. It is adaptive cruise control. This is for the little center stack. We'll go over that in a moment. You got your voice controls over here, phone controls as well. And then you can see behind it, you've got the stock for the lights. You have the stock for the windshield wiper on the other side. But overall, pretty cool setup for a steering wheel. Here is the center gauge cluster. You can see you've got analog gauges for the RPMs and for the speed. And then you do have that little center screen, which will show you different bits of information on the car. Like you can see your fuel economy. It does a little compass as well. I think it's a pretty neat little setup in general with that center screen. And then I love like the little gear thing on the side that shows you which gear you're in. Overall, I think it's a pretty good looking screen, and we got 69 miles of range. Here is the center infotainment system. You can see you've got analog buttons just there at the bottom to control everything, but it's also touchscreen. Response time's really good. And more importantly, let's go over the backup camera because you guys all want to know about that. You can see that you've got the trajectory lines that do turn with the steering wheel. Resolution on it's pretty decent as well. And then as for the rest of the infotainment system, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and you guys can see scroll time's really good. The other thing I like about this, you got the sound mood lamp. So basically you guys can change interior lighting, which is pretty cool. You've got all these different color options to go through, and then you can have it with the music. So then it'll kind of like adjust the coloration as you're playing your music. And then the other cool thing is we've got the sounds of nature, which it's raining today, but now we can have like a double rainy day. Cause like you got that and then you got the rain outside. So like it's rainception. Anywho, we've got a couple vents here. We've got the little analog climate control area right here. So if I want the climate on, then I just have to turn it on, and then everything will be on this little screen right here. But as for now, we're just gonna have that all turned off. And then coming down here, you can see that in this little area, you've got a bunch of little areas where you can charge devices. You got a couple 12 volts, you got a little USB as well. And then there is a wireless phone charger there at the top, just some extra storage space in this little area. Here is the shifter for that 7-speed dual clutch automatic. And yes, you can shift the gears yourself if you'd like. Heated seats, which again, I got this on because it's pretty chilly today. And then we've got a drive mode select, which this is gonna pop up here on the center screen. So you can see you've got a couple different drive modes, or I should say a few, because we got 3 more than 2, but you got your smart, which that's kind of like your good fuel economy mode. You've got your sport, which is for sporty driving. You got your normal mode, and then notice that the gauge cluster actually changes. I'll kind of sit there in the drive mode for a little bit longer so you can see the change with the sport mode and how it gets a little bit more aggressive there in the center. Now here in the whole center console area, you can see you've got a couple cup holders. You got a parking brake and the auto hold, and then with the center console, I've got some stitching right here. Opening it up, pretty decent amount of storage space. More soft touch here at the top of the dash, and then you can see pretty normal glove box. And as for the rest of this, you can see how this kind of all flows together, and that's all. Now I've got an all gray headliner up here. I've got the little lights. They look like you'd press them, but you don't. And you guys can see they're LED lights, which is pretty cool. Most cars don't do LED lights in the interior, but you've got that in the Seltos, and that is everything for the top. Now that we're done going over the interior on this Seltos, let's quickly get into pricing. So in terms of pricing, this Seltos stickers for just under $30,000 before any type of market adjustment. That all being said, let's take the Seltos out and see how it drives. Let's quickly talk about visibility before we set off here in the Seltos. So first off, visibility of the hood. It's really easy to see out of such a short hood. And there's your visibility through both of the mirrors. And they do have blind spot monitoring. And then here's your visibility throughout the rear, which is actually pretty good. And the blind spot monitoring will help out as well. And that all being said, let's set off. We're initially setting off here in the Seltos, and we'll see how it does over this little speed bump. Brakes work really well. Yeah, so it handles that pretty gracefully, and this will actually give us a chance to kind of see how this does, you know, just getting off the line with a light acceleration. And then also this road kind of curves a little bit, which is nice, so it'll show us handling to an extent. But the first thing I'm noticing here with the Seltos is the fact that that transmission isn't jerky. So dual clutches are known to be jerky, especially at low speeds, and they've done a really good job of tuning it to where it's not jerky. It does feel a little bit different compared to a traditional torque converter automatic, but it's not just like super jerky all over the place like some of these dual clutches are in cars. And going through that little part, I noticed there's not a whole lot of body roll here with the Seltos, and on top of that, the other thing I noticed with the car is the fact that it's just so smooth and it's quiet. It's kind of like a rainy, nasty day today, and you don't really notice it, which is nice. Let's get our little acceleration here with the Seltos to see how it performs. Yeah, the dual clutch is really quick. I mean, that's one of the benefits of going to a dual clutch transmission is you're gonna have really quick gear shifts. It's like the downshifts even. I mean, they are pretty much instantaneous here with the Seltos, and that turbocharged engine is very powerful in this car. This is just not a very big SUV at all, and it's just more than enough. It's got so much low-end torque. It's really good. I'm really impressed with this engine. Yeah, that's just so good. I'm really impressed with that. Now I'm going to pop it back over into the normal mode. The one thing I did notice with the transmission there in manual mode, and this is also because this is turbocharged, sometimes if you do press into the throttle, like when you're just getting up and going, you're gonna notice there's kind of a little bit of a dead spot before anything happens. And I think that's between the dual clutch and the fact that this is turbocharged. So it's kind of like a combination of both of those together kind of end up with that sort of thing. But overall, it's a really good setup. And yeah, just seeing the handling here, this is so small. It's not, I actually really like it because obviously you still get like the four-wheel drive capability, you still get the SUV practicality, but this isn't like a big massive SUV, and so it handles really well, but it just has this like small little like zippy feel, which I really like it. It's kind of fun. It's like this would be so fun to drive on the off-road. Actually, I know you guys have probably seen the commercials of this driving through the sand dunes and all that. I probably wouldn't do that with it, but this would actually be pretty fun in the off-road because it would maneuver so well. But let's actually get into summing things up here with the Seltos. So if you're looking for a smaller sized, good fuel economy SUV, obviously the Seltos is going to be in that category. All-wheel drive is also another thing with this. Overall, like, high points of this car. So the styling is definitely different on the outside. I wouldn't necessarily call it beautiful. I would just call it different. It's kind of like a very interesting modern take with automobile styling. From the interior is fantastic for the price point. I mean, this is sub $30,000. Really nice material use. Tons of safety tech. In general, from like a tech standpoint, this car does a really good job. And then from the performance standpoint, I actually put it slightly above average. It's got really good performance, especially for the segment this is in and for the price point this is at. So overall, I think this is a really good package. And if you're looking for a smaller type SUV, I would definitely give the Seltos a look. That is going to sum things up for our video here with this 2021 Kia Seltos SX Turbo. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to Jerry Center Kia for providing us with the Seltos. Check out their inventory in the link below. I will see all of you in the next video.